Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our our virtual Dirshu Mishnah Berurah share. We are holding in Mishnah Berurah Chelik Hey. We are going to learn today Daf Kuf Amid Beis. We're a little bit behind the Dirshu schedule. Hopefully, we'll catch up in the next couple of days. We begin today actually on Kuf Amid Aleph. We are learning Siman Taf Tzadik Dalid, and we are in middle of Sif Aleph. We began Sif Aleph yesterday. And we discussed the meaning of staying up to learn the entire night on Shavuous night, and what you're supposed to do as far as the various brachas of Brachas HaShachar, what to do about the bracha of Al Natilas Yadayim, what to do about the bracha on Tzitzis, Brachas HaTorah. And now we're going to go into the davening of Shavuos. So we're on the first line of Siman Taf Tzadik Dalid in the words of the Mechaber. The Mechaber says, V'seder HaTfilah, the order of the davening on Shavuos, is really the same as that of the Yom Tov of Pesach. In other words, we daven the Shalosh Regalim Mishmayne Esrei. Elo she'oimrim es yom Chag HaShavuos hazeh matan matan tereseinu. Of course, on Pesach we said Chag HaMatzos hazeh zman chereseinu, and now on Shavuos we say Yom Chag HaShavuos hazeh zman matan tereseinu. The time when Baruch Hashem we received the Torah HaKadosha. V'goimrim ha'halel, and of course we lay in the entire halel. U'maitzian shnei svarim, we take out 2 sifrei Torah for Kriyas HaTorah. V'karin barisha in chamisha, in the first Sefer Torah we lay in 5 aliyos, and we begin mi b'chodesh hashlishi. We begin in Parshas Yisro from the pasuk of mi b'chodesh from chodesh b'chodesh hashlishi ad soif haseder. And we learn about Matan Torah and Yaseres Hadibros. Maftir, and as far as the Maftir, Kairei Basheni, we learn it from the second Sefer, Uvayoim Habikurim. We learn the Parsha from Parshas Pinchas about the Korban Musaf of Chag HaShavuos. Let's stop here for a moment. Let's go into the Mishnah Berurah. Mishnah Berurah, Ois Cotton Bays. V'Kairin Barishain, in the first Sefer Torah, we learn 5 aliyos, and Yom Tov we learn 5 aliyos. And we lay 5 aliyos in the parsha of Matan Torah in Yisro. Va'aminig loimer akdamus. And the Chavetz Chaim tells us, of course, about the minig that we have to sing the shira of akdamus before the laning. Ve'eskimu kama achrayim, and many achrayim agree. Loimer zeh koidim shamaschel hakoyin levarech al HaTorah, that we lay akdamus before the koyin makes the bracha on his aliyah. In other words, we take out the Sefer Torah, we bring the Sefer Torah to the bima, we call up the Kayin, but before the Kayin makes his bracha, that's when the Balkara is going to lead us with Agdamus. We don't wait for the Kayin to make the bracha first on the Aliyah, because if that would happen, there would be a hefsik between his bracha and the Kriyas HaTorah. The Chein HaMinig Ka'ayoim B'Kama Kehilos, and the Chavetz Chaim says that indeed, that is the minig in many Kehilos. Achein. However, Yitziv Piskam, the beautiful little poem of Yitziv Piskam, Sha'imrim b'yom sheni be'eis kriyas HaTorah, that we recite on the second day of Shavuos by the HaTorah, Nespashet be'ezah mekayimos la'amrei achar pasuk rishayin shel HaTorah. That Yitziv Piskam we actually say after the oila for the maftir, after he makes the Birchas HaTorah, and after the Balkara lanes the first pasuk of the HaTorah from Chabakuk, that's when he goes and he says Yitziv Piskam. So we make the bracha on the HaTorah, we lane the first pasuk of the HaTorah, and then we say Yitziv Piskam. And the difference over here, of course, is that HaTorah is not as chamor as the Kriyas HaTorah itself. So by the Kriyas HaTorah, we're makbid not to make a hefsik between the bracha of the oila and the Kriya. But by the HaTorah, according to this minig, and that's, I think, the widespread minig, we're not as makbid, and we allow the oila to make the bracha on the HaTorah. The Balkara lanes the first pasuk of the HaTorah. That way we at least began the HaTorah, and then he says Yitziv Piskam. Agdamus, of course, is a beautiful, beautiful shira thanking the Rebbeinu Shalom for the gift of the Torah HaKadosha that is the topic of Chag HaShavuos, Man Matan Tereseinu. It's a beautiful, beautiful shira. If people have the opportunity to take out the machzor and actually look at what the words of Agdamus mean, it's very inspiring and beautiful. Okay, Ois Cotton Gimel, the Mechaber said that we lane mi b'chodesh hashlishi, and the Chavetz Chaim says v'kairin hadibrais patam ha'elyon. When we lane the Aseres hadibrais, we know that if you look in the Chumash, you'll find two different sets of trup by the Aseres hadibrais. There's the one that's called the tam ha'elyon, that's where most of the trup is on top of the words, and then there's the tam ha'tachtoin, v'ayin b'bir halacha shebiyarti ba'arucha. And of course, the critical difference between the Tam HaElyon and the Tam HaTachton is that if you follow the Tam HaElyon, it turns each one of the Aseres HaDibros into one long pasuk. So even though most of the Aseres HaDibros, each dibur of the Aseres HaDibros is broken up into several psukim, still what we do with the Tam HaElyon is we join all of those individual psukim into one long pasuk. That's the way we lane it. We lane it as if the whole dibur consists of one pasuk. We want to unify each one of the Aseres HaDibros. Instead of breaking them up into individual psukim, each one of the Aseres HaDibros is unified as if it was one pasuk. So Anoichi is laned, Anoichi and L'Yelecha is laned as one pasuk. Shabbos is laned as one pasuk. Everything is laned as one pasuk. And that's the way we're supposed to lane it on Shavuos. Continues the Mechaber, the last word on Kuf Amud Aleph, Umaftir, and as far as the HaTorah of Shavuos, Bamerkava the Yecheskel. We lane the section in Yecheskel of the Maisa HaMerkava, what goes on up in Shemayim with the Malachim. Umasayim b'pasuk v'tisei Ruach, and we end off that HaTorah with the pasuk that we all know from Uval Tzion, says the Mishnah Berurah, is cutting Daled b'Markava the Yecheskel. The Nayagid b'Miktsas Mekayis. In some places the minig is Shagadol v'Chacham Kairei Zayis HaTorah. That this HaTorah, even though technically the HaTorah could be read by a katan, but this HaTorah of the Maisa Merkava is always laned by a gadol, by an adult, and also by a chacham. It should be relaned by a Talmud Chacham. V'smach l'davar, and we have something to rely on with this minig, because we know that the Gemara in Chagiga tells us, v'loi b'maisa merkava, you're not supposed to teach the meaning of the maisa merkava, ela im kein haya chacham umevin midaitoi. You don't teach the maisa merkava to just anyone. If you want to teach the maisa merkava to somebody, he has to be somebody who's a chacham. Not only a chacham, he really has to be able to learn the intricacies of the Maisa Merkava and understand them on his own. And all you do when you teach him, you don't really teach it to him in detail. You just give him Rashi Prakim. You give him a little bit, a little guidance in the Maisa Merkava. You start him off, but he has to be able to discern and understand the Maisa Merkava on his own. If he's not at that level, that's not somebody who you learn the Maisa Merkava with. Therefore, it makes sense if we see how elevated the Maisa Merkava is. So it makes sense that when it comes b'tzibur to lane the Maisa Merkava, it should not be laned by just anyone. It should be a gadol and a chacham. V'gam yesh nayagin, and there are also those who have the custom shekol mi shekare oisa im hamafter balachash. Anyone who's going to quietly lane along with the balkara, so he's going to be reading the Maisa Merkava together with the balkara quietly. He should recite it and he should lane it together with the balkare while he is standing because of its great chashivas. Now we go to Sif Beis in the Mechaber and Kuf Amud Beis. B'yom HaSheni, on the second day of Shavuos, of course, in the Chutz La'aretz, we have the Yom Tov Sheni Shel Galiyos. B'yom HaSheni, on the second day of Shavuos, Karen b'Parshas Kol HaBechor. We lane from Parshas Re'eh. I believe it's at Shvi of Parshas Re'eh. We lane the Parsha of Kol HaBechor at Soif Sidra until the end of the Parsha, and that is, of course, one of the Parshas of the Mayados. Umaftir Karikumai Esmail. The Maftir we lane again from Parshas Pinchas, the Parsha of the Karban Musaf of Shavuos. Umaftir, and as far as the HaTorah, we lane the HaTorah b'Chabakuk in the Navi of Chabakuk in Treyasar. Min v'Hashem b'Heichal Kachai. We begin with the pasuk of Hashem b'Heichal Kachai Hasmi Panav Kol Haaretz. That's that first pasuk that we lane before we say Yitziv Piskam. Ad Lam Natzech b'Neginoisai, and we end off the Haftarah with the pasuk of Lamanatzeach b'negina isai, with those words. Says the Mishnah Berurah nice cut and hey, Kol HaBechor. The kriya for the second day of Shavuos is Kol HaBechor. Ve'emechal b'Shabbos. Now, what do we do if the second day of Shavuos falls out on Shabbos? On Shabbos, we have to have 7 aliyahs. We can't have only 5 aliyahs like we do on Yom Tov. Now, the problem is that the parsha of Kol HaBechor is very short. So in order to have 7 aliyahs, we have to add on to that kriya. Therefore, says the Chavetz Chaim, V'emchal b'Shabbos, if the second day of Shavuos falls out on Shabbos, shetzrichen likros yoser, so we have to lane more so that we should be able to have 7 aliyahs. Da b'Shabbos tzar shiva kruim. Then maschilim aser to aser. Then we begin from chamishi in Parshas Re'eh. We begin aser to aser, so we can add on another 2 aliyahs. Siv Gimel. Aser lehis anes b'motzai chag hashavuos. You're not allowed to fast on what the Mechaber is calling Motzai Shavuos. Now, this doesn't mean Motzai Shavuos the way we colloquially use the terminology of Motzai. It doesn't mean the night after Shavuos. It actually means the next day, which we call Isru Chag. You're not allowed to fast on Isru Chag of Shavuos. Let's take a look here in the Mishnah Berurah, Eis Katan Vav. B'Motzai, what does that mean? Mipnei kishachal atzeres b'Shabbos. When Shavuos falls out on Shabbos, hayoyim zvichas hakarbonos achar haShabbos. When Shavuos fell out on Shabbos, then the day after Shavuos, Isru Chag, was the day that the Gemara calls Yom HaTavayach, the day of shechting karbonos. What's that work over here? We know that on Yom Tov there are different types of karbonos that we're mechuyev to bring. We have the karbonos tzibur of the Yom Tov. Every Yom Tov comes together with its karbonos tzibur, like the Musafin. But besides the karbonos tzibur that Klal Yisrael has to bring on the Yom Tov, there are also karbonos that each individual has to bring. We know that on Shalosh Regalim, and Shavuos is one of the Shalosh Regalim, we have a chiv to be oile regel. We have to go up to the Beis Hamikdash. And when we come to the Beis Hamikdash, we bring an oilas re'iyah, we bring a carbon oilah, to celebrate the fact that we're coming up to be oile regel, to come to the Beis Hamikdash. So we bring an oilas re'iyah, like the pasuk says, v'lo yero panai reikam. When you come to the Beis Hamikdash, you don't come empty-handed. You come to the Beis Hamikdash, you bring karbanos. So we bring an oilas re'iyah, and everybody also brought shalmei chagiga. They brought carbon shlamim, and that was ein simcha ela b'basar kachim. If you're going to be misameach on Yom Tov, you need basar kachim. How do you have basar kachim to be misameach on Yom Tov? You bring a carbon shlamim. So you bring shalmei chagiga and oilas re'iyah. Now the challenge is that when Yom Tov falls out on Shabbos, while the karbanos tzibur are doiche Shabbos, you're allowed to bring the karbanos tzibur on Shabbos, but you're not allowed to bring the shalmei chagiga and the oilas re'iyah on Shabbos. Those are carbon yochid, and those are not doiche Shabbos. So what do? When do you bring your shalmei chagiga and your oilas re'iyah? So on Shavuos, they were brought after Yom Tov, and you had 6 days during which you could bring the karbanos that should have been brought on Shavuos. You have 6 days following the Shavuos when you're allowed to bring those karbanos. Of course, we know Zrizin Magdimin, so the bulk of those karbanos were brought on the first day after Shavuos. So that day was called the Yom HaTavayach. Because that day was called the Yom HaTavayach, and because you had so many karbanos being brought on that day, it was a mitzvahs Yom Tov. It was sort of like a Yom Tov. So therefore, that says the Chavetz Chaim here, why is there an inyan not to fast on Isru Chag? Because if Shavuos should fall out on Shabbos, so that people cannot bring their oilas re'iyah and their shalmei chagiga, so they would bring the oilas re'iyah and the shalmei chagiga on the day after Yom Tov, on Isru Chag. And since we're bringing all of those karbanos that really belong to Yom Tov, we're bringing them on Isru Chag. So Isru Chag is ke'ein Yom Tov. It's almost like a Yom Tov in its own right. And this the Chavetz Chaim brings down from the Magen Avraham. Ulefi tamzeh, and says the Chavetz Chaim, according to this reason, if this is the reason why we don't fast on Isru Chag, if it's because of the Yom HaTavayach, ulefi tamzeh, be'Isru Chag sha'achar Sukkos, so then on Isru Chag of Sukkos, muter lehisanos, it would come out that you're allowed to fast on Isru Chag of Sukkot. Why? Because Isru Chag of Sukkot, you don't have this challenge. On Isru Chag of Sukkot, you have a whole Chalamayid when you could bring Eilas Re'iyah and Shalmei Chagiga. So there's no reason why somebody should have to be bringing Eilas Re'iyah and Shalmei Chagiga on Isru Chag. So there was no Tashlumin after Yom Tov. There was no time after Yom Tov to go bring the Karbanos of Yom Tov. You should have brought them on Yom Tov. So there is no Yom Tovayach. And therefore, if that's the reason why we have a prohibition against fasting on Isru Chag, it would seem that it should not apply to Sukkot. Now, as far as Pesach, we don't need to come on to this as far as Pesach is concerned, because Isru Chag of Pesach is by definition during Nisan. And during Nisan, you're not allowed to fast anyway. So this whole discussion is not germane to Isru Chag of Pesach. However, says the Chavetz Chaim, Medivrei Agra mashma, from the words of the Gra, it is implied the Gam Sham Ein Lehis Anois, that even on Isru Chag of Sukkot, you also shouldn't fast. Even though we don't have this rationale of the Yom HaTorah, still you should not fast on Isru Chag of Sukkot. And one of the reasons that are brought down is because we have a Gemara in Sukkah. The Gemara in Sukkah says, Kol ha'oiseh iser l'chag. Anybody who makes an extension of the Yom Tov, Isur, something that's tied to the Yom Tov, ba'achila u'shtia, by honoring it with achila and shtia, by having a little bit of a suda, ma'ala alav ha'kosav, ki'ilu bana mizbeach, the hikrivel of carbon. The Torah Akdosha looks at him as if he built a mizbeach to the Rabbeinu Shalom, and he brought karbanis to the Rabbeinu Shalom. So we see that even besides, without this reason of the tashlumin of the karbanos, there's another concept of we want to add on to the Yom Tov. We don't want to just leave Yom Tov and run. We have like a little bit of an extension to the Yom Tov. The day after Yom Tov, we're not ready to run away from Yom Tov yet. It's Isru Chag, and we still have that simcha, and we still feel the upliftingness of Yom Tov, the spiritual high, the ruchniistic high of Yom Tov is still with us on Isru Chag. So we still celebrate Isru Chag, and the Gemara looks at that as being a very lofty thing. And therefore, it's not a day that makes sense to have a tinus on. The Chain Mashma Bebeis Yosef, and in the end of Mishnah Berurah is Katan Vav, the Chavetz Chaim says that it is mashma like this from the Beis Yosef, that you should not fast on any Isru Chag, not only on Isru Chag of Shavuos, but on Isru Chag of Sukkot as well. Now we go to the words of the Ramah. Says the Ramah, by me it's 4 lines down in the Shulchan Aruch. Haga ve'ein oimrim tachdun. We do not say tachdun. Mitchilas Rosh Chodesh Sivan, from the beginning of Rosh Chodesh Sivan ad Ches B'Ai, until the 8th day of Sivan, which is Isru Chag. Dahainu achar Isru Chag. So that means we're only going to start saying tachdun the day after Isru Chag of Shavuos. Now, there are those who have a minute that they don't say tachdun even longer than that. They don't say tachdun for 6 days after Shavuos, because like we said, in reality, during the time of the Beis HaMikdash, you had 6 days after Shavuos, during which you could bring any of the karbanos of Shavuos that you did not yet bring. So since there was 6 days when you could still bring the karbanos of Shavuos, those were the Yemei Tashlumin, the days where you could make up the karbanos that you didn't bring. All of those days have a little bit of a din of Yom Tov. And therefore, there's a minhag that some people have not to say tachdun for all of those 6 days. Nevertheless, what the Ramah says over here is he says you don't say tachdun until after Isru Chag. So on Isru Chag, you don't say tachdun, but on the day after Isru Chag, you do say tachdun. Says the Mishnah Berurah in Ois Katan Zayin. Ve'ein oimrim tachdun. You don't say tachdun from Rosh Chodesh Sivan until after Isru Chag of Shavuos. V'gam ein mis'anin bam, and you also do not fast beginning with Rosh Chodesh Sivan all the way until the day after Isru Chag. Mitchilas Rosh Chodesh Sivan. This applies from the first day of Rosh Chodesh Sivan. Why is this? Why is it that you don't say tachdun starting already Rosh Chodesh Sivan? Well, the truth is that Rosh Chodesh Sivan itself, of course, you don't say tachdun. You never say tachdun on Rosh Chodesh. And so that's Rosh Chodesh, that's Aleph Sivan. Then you have Beis Sivan. Then after Beis Sivan, you have Gimel, Daled, and Hey. Now, Gimel, Dalet, and Hey are the Shloshis Yemei Hakbala, right? Gimel, Dalet, Hey is Erev Shavuos. So Gimel, Dalet, and Hey are the 3 days before Shavuos. Those are the Shloshis Yemei Hakbala, the 3 days of preparation when we prepared for Matan Torah. So on Aleph, on Rosh Chodesh, we don't say Tachdon because it's Rosh Chodesh. We never say Tachdon on Rosh Chodesh. On Gimel, Dalet, and Hey, we don't say Tachdon because it is the Shloshis Yemei Hakbala. Vav and Zayin are Shavuos. Ches is Isru Chag. So the one day that needs an explanation is Beis. Why don't we say Tachdon on Beis? And the truth is that Beis has a special name. Beis is called Yom HaMeyuchas, the day that has Yichus. Why is it called Yom HaMeyuchas? So some people say that it's a euphemism. We're calling it the Yom HaMeyuchas because it's the only day from Rosh Chodesh through Ches that is not Meyuchas. Like I said, Aleph is Rosh Chodesh. Gimel, Dalet, and Hey are Shloshis Yemei Hakbala. Vav and Zayin are Shavuos. Ches is Isru Chag. So all of those days have a special Yichus. Beis doesn't seem to have its own special Yichus. Beis is what's called the Yom HaMeyuchas. But we don't say Tachdon on Beis either. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Metchilas Rosh Chodesh Sivan, in Ois Katan Ches, we don't say Tachdon already beginning Rosh Chodesh. The Miyad B'Sheni B'Sivan Amar Lahem Moshe L'Kadosh Am LaTorah, because even though Beis Sivan was not one of the Shloshis Yemei Hakbala, on Beis Sivan, Moshe Rabbeinu already instructed the Klal Yisrael that they have to be Mekadesh themselves and they have to prepare themselves for Kabbalas HaTorah. So even though the Shloshis Yemei Hakbala didn't really start until the next day, but they were already spoken to her and already instructed that they have to prepare themselves for Kabbalas HaTorah, that they were already told on Beis Sivan. Like it says in the pasuk, Im Shamaya Tishbu B'Koili, on Beis, the Rebbeinu Shalom told Moshe Rabbeinu to tell the Klal Yisrael, Im Shamaya Tishbu B'Koili, if you will listen to my voice, Ushamartem Es Brisi, and you'll keep my bris, then you'll be a Klal Yisrael, you'll be a Mamlech Kahan V'Goy Kadosh. And then after Beis comes Gimel, Dalet, and Hey, which are the Shloshis Yemei Hakbala. So on those days, we don't need to explain why we don't say Tachdon. Okay. Continues the Ramah. By me, it's near the end of the second line from the bottom. Minay Hagin, there is a minig, L'shtoyach asavim b'shavuos b'beis hakneses, to spread out beautiful greenery in the Beis HaKnesses, v'habatim, and in the houses, zecher l'simchas Matan Torah, as a zecher, as a remembrance to the great simcha of Matan Torah. So they would take the houses and they would take the Batei Knesiyos and they would beautify them with greenery. And the truth is that I have very fond memories of this when I was a child growing up in Borough Park, davening in the Svardish Shul. Rabbi Yossel Fishman, Zichrono Livracha, the Shamish of the Svardish Shul for many decades, he used to go get big branches, very tall branches with beautiful green leaves, and he would twist them and tie them together, and he would make an archway over the bima so that there were 4 branches, a branch going up and coming over the bima from each corner of the bima, and then they would weave flowers around those branches. So it was very beautiful. The bima had like a chuppah of greenery over the bima. And by the Amid also, they would put greenery. Now we're going to see that some don't have this minig anymore, but l'chal hapachas, I grew up with this minig. I remember it very fondly. It really beautified the Beis HaKnesses. Says the Mishnah Berurah in Ois Katan Tes, b'Shavuos, Hainu bein sheshoytchan be'erev Yom Tov. This minig applied whether you spread out this greenery on Erev Yom Tov, or b'Yom Tov Gufa, or in some places they put the greenery out in the Beis HaKnesses on Shavuos itself. Now you might think, how could you do that? The greenery, the branches of the trees or the bushes, whatever you're using, l'chayra they're muktzah. Says the Chavetz Chaim, va'afilu imoisan asavim ein ru'uyin l'machal behema. Even if you're using some kind of greenery that's not usable as machal behema, and therefore it would seem to be like eitzim va'avanim, the classic example of muktzah, of something which is muktzah machmas gufay, something which is muktzah, it's inherently muktzah in that it is something that has absolutely no use on Shabbos or Yom Tov, is eitzim va'avonim, sticks and stones. Sticks and stones are muktzah, because sticks and stones don't have any purpose on Shabbos or Yom Tov unless you're making them before Shabbos and Yom Tov. So if somebody needs a doorstop and he sees outside the shul, he sees a nice big rock that could be used as a doorstop, he could be making it before Shabbos. He could take it and he could say, okay, I'm setting this aside for use as a doorstop. Then it's not muktzah. But if on Shabbos somebody looks outside the door to the shul and he sees a big rock and he wants to use it as a doorstop, that's not muchan. It's not prepared for use as a doorstop. So it's eitzim va'avanim that don't generally have a use of Shabbos or Yom Tov, and they're muktzah. So the Chavetz Chaim is saying over here, I'm telling you that you could spread out greenery and vegetation in the shul on Yom Tov. Why isn't it muktzah? So if it's something which is edible for animals, so it's not muktzah because it's a meichel behema. I can take it and I can feed it to my animals on Shabbos and on Yom Tov. But if it's not royal meichel, so then why isn't it muktzah? So the Chavetz Chaim explains, since you already had in mind from before Yom Tov that you're going to use this vegetation to put it out to beautify the Beis HaKnesses on Yom Tov, shari l'taltalan, it becomes mutter to handle them on Yom Tov, because again, now they are considered meichin. They're considered prepared for Yom Tov use. Siman shin ches siv chaf. Ubefrat, and certainly in asavim hamerichin, this is certainly true if you're talking about greenery that has a sweet, pleasant smell. So then again, it has a distinct use on Yom Tov. It has a use for its aroma. Achein, however, if Shavuos falls out on Sunday, ein l'shadchan b'Shabbos. You can't spread this greenery around the Beis HaKnesses or the house on Shabbos. Why? Because you're doing this l'tzarech Yom Tov. Ve'ein Shabbos meichen l'Yom Tov, and we know that on Shabbos you're not allowed to make hachanos for Yom Tov on Shabbos. Elo yishtachem b'Yom Tov gufa. Rather, you should spread them out on Yom Tov themselves. Oy be'erev Shabbos, or you should make sure to do it on erev Shabbos. So that's erev Yom Tov. Ois Katan Zayin, the Mechaber said that the reason for this minig was Zecher l'simchas Matan Torah. It served as a remembrance for the great simcha of Matan Torah. And the Chavetz Chaim says, Shahayu Sham Asavim Saviv Har Sinai. We know that at the time of Matan Torah, there was a beautiful grassy area around Har Sinai. You know, we have this picture in our mind of a desolate midbar of sand and rocks. The Chavetz Chaim tells us, no, we know that it was beautiful, full of beautiful grasses and beautiful flowers around Har Sinai. And we know this from a pasuk, Kediksiv, like it says in the pasuk, Hatzoin v'habakar al yiru. What did the Rebbeinu Shalom tell Moshe Rabbeinu? The Rebbeinu Shalom told Moshe Rabbeinu, go down and warn Klal Yisrael that they're not allowed to approach Har Sinai and that the animals shouldn't go graze around Har Sinai. How are they going to graze if it's all sand and rocks? It wasn't sand and rocks. It was very beautiful, very tempting grass. So that's why, as a zecher for the tremendous simcha of Kabbalas HaTorah, there was this minig to put out greenery in the Bati Knesios and in the homes. Kasva Achrayim, the Achrayim write, B'makom shenayhayin ligin lechalik asavim hamerichim bebeis hakneses. There are places where they had the minig to take greenery or plants that have a beautiful smell and give them out in shul so that people could go make a bracha and take a sniff, kind of like what they do when I was younger, snuff, right? They go around the shul and they give out a shmek tabak, right? They give out a little snuff. So on Shavuos, they had a minig that they would give out a branch. They would give out something that has a sweet smell, so you can make a bracha of Bar Mina B'Samim or Bar Chatzei B'Samim, depending on what it is, and you get a pleasant aroma. So the Mishnah Berurah points out over here, places where they have that minig, Lo yichalku mi bar sha'amar ad achar tefillah shmayna esrei. They should take care not to give these branches out to the people between bar sha'amar and shmayna esrei, because kedei sheyuchal levarach alein, so that people should make a bracha on them, to maintain also lahafsik. Because we know that during that part of davening, from bar sha'amar until after shmayna esrei, you're not allowed to be mafsik b'dibur. So don't go give somebody a beautiful smelling branch so that he should make a bracha. We don't want him to make a bracha. He's being mafsik. So don't give it out between Bar Shamar and Shemona Esrei. Give it out either before Bar Shamar or after Shemona Esrei. Continues the Chavetz Chaim. Noyhagin, there was a minig lahamid ilonois bebeis hakneses, to put up trees inside the shul on Shavuos, ubabotim, and in the houses. Zecher, as a reminder, shaba'atzeres nidoinu al peros ilon, that on Shavuos we are judged for the fruits of the trees. So we want to have something that reminds us that we're being judged on trees. So we put up a tree, and now we see it, and we'll remember, and we'll be mispal to the Rabbeinu Shalom that he should judge us favorably when it comes to the fruits of the trees. The Mishnah Berurah says, however, v'hagra bitol minig zeh, the Gra was mevatel this minig. The Gra said that no one should do it anymore. Mishum she'achshav hu chayk ha'amim, because in the time of the Gra said that at that time it was a minig of the goyim to go bring trees into their base Avodah Zarah, lahamid ilonais b'chag shalahem, to stand up trees on their Yom Tov. Dare I say, this might be similar to the Chaga tree. So we know that there's a minig by the non-Jews to erect a tree, and that tree is l'shem Avodah Zarah, or whatever it is. It's zechanat l'shem elakus. It's l'shem, something that we don't want to have any shaykhs to. We don't want to have any connection to. So we're not going to put up trees because that looks like we're following the chukei hagoyim and the chukei Avodah Zarah. So we don't put up trees on Yom Tov. So v'agra bital minig zeh, mishum she'achshavu chayk ha'amim lahamid ilonis b'chag shalehem. Since nowadays it is the custom of the non-Jews to erect trees on their Yom Tov, we don't do it on our Yom Tov. Okay, continues the Ramah, and here we come to a very famous minig, and we're only going to scratch the surface of it today. On the bottom line of the Shulchan Aruch, in the words of the Ramah, right by the Ois Cut Yod Aleph for the Mishnah Berurah, the Noyhagin bekama mekayma, said in many locales they have the minig lechal machalei chalav b'yayim rishayin shel Shavuos, to eat a milchig meal on the first day of Shavuos. Says the Mishnah Berurah in Ois Cut Yod Aleph, but kama mekayma lechal, in many places the minig is to eat a milchig meal on the first day of Shavuos. Says the Mishnah Berurah, ve'mutar lehesanos tainus chaloim b'Shavuos. Since we're talking about the Suda on Shavuos, he poses the question, if somebody had a bad dream, is he allowed to keep a tainus chaloim? Is he allowed to fast in order to nullify his bad dream on Shavuos? Ayin lekaman, he sends you later, b'siman taf reish daled b'magen Avram, u'mamasha kasav nisham b'Mishnah Berurah, and what we're going to see, Yis Hashem, over there in the Mishnah Berurah, the Rosh Hashanah should bring us all there to Siman Tov Reish Daled in good health. But in any case, that's where the Mishnah Berurah sends you, and there's a discussion over there, different shitas, whether or not you're allowed to fast a tainus chaloim on Shavuos. There are many who have a milchig meal. Ayin magen Avram. V'ani shamati oid b'shem gadol echad. The Chavetz Chaim says that he heard in the name of a gadol, Sha'amar tam nochain lozeh, who says a very nice reason why we have a milchig meal. Ki be'esh she'amdu al Har Sinai, because at the time when the Klal Yisrael was by Har Sinai, the kiblu HaTorah, and they accepted the Torah. Ki explains the Chavetz Chaim ba'aseres hadibris neskalo lahem al yidei zeh kol chelkei HaTorah, and you should realize that by Matan Torah by Har Sinai, when we got the Aseres Hadibris, we didn't only hear the Aseres Hadibris. We were Mekabel, and we got Kol HaTorah Kula. Kamosha Kasav Rav Sadia Gaon, the way Rav Sadia Gaon writes about Aseres Hadibris Kula Kol HaTorah, that the entire Torah Kedosha is all bound up in the Aseres Hadibris. So when we received the Aseres Hadibris on Shavuos by Har Sinai, we got Kol HaTorah Kula. The Yardum in Ahar Lebesam, Klal Yisrael went back to their houses after Kabbalah Torah. They didn't have anything to eat right away. The only thing that they had to eat was milchigs. Because for fleishiks, you have a whole host of halachas that you have to keep. You need a lot of preparation. Lishchait besak and baduk. Now suddenly we have a halacha that we have to do shchita, that we have to slaughter the animal properly, and it has to be with a sakin boduk. It has to be with a sakin that was checked. Kasher tziva Hashem, the way the Rebbe Shalom commanded us. And we have to be able to pull out from the meat the parts of the fats that are chelev, v'hadam, and we have to remove all the dam with malicha, ulahadiach, v'lomloach, ulavashel v'kelim chadashim. Everything has to be done with new utensils. Because they came home from Har Sinai. They couldn't eat fleishiks anymore because suddenly they had all sorts of new halachas, and they would have to go shech and treber and salt and everything else, and they couldn't even use their kalim because their kalim had to be kashered. So temporarily they have to eat milchigs, and we make a zecher for that happening. Okay, we're going to stop over here by Ois Kat and Yud Gimel. Yes, Hashem, we will continue from here tomorrow. I hope maybe tomorrow we'll catch up back to the Dishu schedule. There's basically one day that we have to make up. Thank you so much for joining me for limud HaTorah. This list of limud HaTorah should stand Gans Klal Yisrael in good stead. The Rebbe Shalom should shik Yeshuas and Refuas and Parnasa and everything that anyone needs. And we should all be zeichet for limud HaTorah in Yerushalayim, for the Bias Gal Tzedek and Herav Yameinu. Be well.